Hello students, in this video we will learn about how the air circulation is formed on the surface of the earth. In previous video we have learned about that how air expands on heating. As we know that on heating the air expands and occupies more space. When the same thing occupies more space, it becomes lighter. The warm air is therefore lighter than the cold air. That is the reason that the smoke goes up. Movement of air because of uneven heating on earth. Here the meaning of uneven heating means there are some temperature differences in the different part of the earth. Due to that uneven heating, the movement of air is taking place on the surface of the earth. As we already learned about that, the temperature is also play a very important role in the movement of the air. In a region where the temperature is high, then there is a low pressure region, and where the temperature is low, then the air pressure is high, and air movement is always takes place from higher pressure region to lower pressure region, and in that way, due to that pressure difference, air moves from one place to another. Now how this higher pressure region and low pressure region is created on the surface of the earth, that can be learned in this video. How it can be created? That can be created by the two ways on the surface of the earth. Number one, uneven heating on the earth on the equatorial region, and uneven heating on the land and the water. Movement of air in equatorial region. First of all, we need to understand what is equatorial region. Earth is divided into the two equal hemisphere, and the imaginary line which cut earth into the two hemisphere, that is called the equatorial line, and the nearby area of that equatorial line is known to be as the equatorial region. The equatorial region gets the highest amount of sunshine throughout the year. Due to this, the air near the equatorial region gets heated. The warm air rises up and creates an area of low pressure. So from that paragraph, what we need to understand that near the equatorial region, it is considered to be the hot area of the earth. And as we know that if there is a hot area, or you can say that the temperature of any region which is high, then the air of that particular region is rises up. So that is also mentioned here is the warm air rises up and creates an area of low pressure. As I told to you that if the temperature is rising, then the pressure is become low. The cool air from the higher latitudes rushes towards the equator to fill the gap. This results in the wind movement from tropical zones towards the equator. Similarly, wind movement is caused in other parts of earth. Other part of the earth. Now, as you can see in the picture, this is, you can consider this is the equatorial line. This is the equatorial line. I'm representing by capital E. This is the equatorial line. That line is divided earth into the two hemisphere. And on the earth we have got the two poles. One is considered to be, this is called North Pole, and this is called the South Pole. If we compare the temperature of North Pole and South Pole as compared to the equatorial region, then we can find the poles are colder than the equatorial region. So in that way, you can see that there is a pink arrows are there. That means these pink arrows are suggesting that the cool air is rushing towards the where from poles to equatorial region. The cool air rushes towards the equatorial region, and these arrows are representing that the warm air is rises up. That means from equatorial region the warm air is rises up, and the cool air is rushing from poles towards the equatorial region. That is the first formation of wind circulation on the surface of the earth. The wind flow pattern because of uneven heating on the earth. So you can say that from poles the cool air rushes towards the equatorial region, and on the equatorial region the hot air is rising up, and in that way this wind circulation is formed. So that is the first reason to form the wind circulation on the surface of the earth. That means the uneven heating between the equator and the poles are responsible to form the first wind current or wind circulation on the surface of the earth. We have learned about in geography that regions close to the equator get maximum heat from the sun. The air in this region gets warm. The warm air rises, and the cool air from the regions in the 0 to 30-degree latitudes belts on other side of the equator moves in. Or you can say that from tropical zones to poles the cool air rushes towards the equator. These winds blow from north and south towards the equator as it is mentioned into the figure. At the poles, the air is colder than that at latitudes about 60 degrees. The warm air at these latitudes rises up, and the cold wind from polar regions rushes in to take its place. In this way, wind circulation is set up from the poles to the warmer latitude as it's shown into the figure. That is the figure in which we can find out how the wind circulation formed because of the uneven heating of the poles and equator. This is the reason where we can say this is the cold area. In the below also, that is called the cold area, and this is the warm area. So the cool air rushes from poles towards the equatorial zone, and warm air rises up from the equatorial region. Now the very next reason why, another reason that the wind circulation formed on the surface of the earth, that is called the uneven heating of land and water. In previous chapter number 4, we have already learned about that what is sea breeze and land breeze. Sea breeze occurs in a daytime when cool air moves from sea towards the land, that is known to be the sea breeze, and in night time when the cool air moves from land towards the sea, that process is called the land breeze. So that similar kind of thing is also happen because of the uneven heating of land and water. In summer, near the equator, the land warms up faster, and most of the time the temperature of the land is higher than that of water in the oceans. The air over the land gets heated and rises because the wind to flow from ocean towards the lands, these are called monsoon winds. What are the monsoon winds? The winds which flow from oceans towards the land, these are called monsoon winds. The word monsoon is derived from the Arabic word mausam, which means seasons. So that is known to be the meaning of monsoon. Monsoon. The flow of moist air from ocean towards land in summer is called monsoon or monsoon wind. The word monsoon came from Arabic word mausam, which means weather. The term monsoon had traditionally been used to describe the typical climate of Indian peninsula during the rainy season. Nowadays, the term monsoon is being also used to describe the similar climate to other part of the world. Monsoon winds carry water vapor which falls over the land in the form of rain after cooling down. In India, the harvest depends on the monsoon wind because it is the major factors towards bringing rainfall in India. So in that way, we can say that the wind circulation formed on the surface of the earth because of the two reasons. Number one, uneven heating of poles and equator, and second is uneven heating of land and water. Because of the uneven heating of the land and water is play a very important role. By this process, we can get the monsoon wind, and monsoon wind is play a very important role the country like India, in which most of the agriculture is depend upon the monsoon. If monsoon is good, then the agriculture production is good. If monsoon is slow, then the agriculture production is also got low. So in that way, we have learned in this video that how the wind circulation is formed due to the uneven heating of the equator and poles and uneven heating of land and water. I hope you understand this. I hope you understand this. Thank you very much.